Very often, when we do microscopy of live animals, protists, protozoans, and run it on a wet slide, then often comes a time when water starts evaporating and the animals are trapped in small air bubbles, small spaces. It is at these places that a lot of action is concentrated. Here, something same is happening. These small animalcules, they have been trapped in a small air bubble, a little bit of water bubble rather to say, and they are struggling for existence. This is the situation. The water from the slide has evaporated, leaving just a trapezium of water droplet, sufficient enough just for a few more minutes of survival for these little animals who are struggling to live. These little euglenids, they are under extreme stress. We'll zoom in to a higher magnification here and focus. These are bacteria that we see. And these are the euglenids under a lot of stress, unimaginable stress. They have very little time left for themselves. They have to act and act very fast. Should they undergo cystification? Or should they just wait a little more while and hope for the environment to become better for them? Many questions must be arising in them. We have already seen a few undergoing cyst formation. Some are still planning to do so, and they are becoming rounded. We just keep watching them. What is their strategy for survival under such circumstances? You see a lot of bacteria in the background, those little black dots, small dashes. They are all bacteria. And these euglenids, they have understood that the time is running out for them. You can see the air bubble slowly shrinking. Rather, the air bubble is increasing and the water is shrinking. It won't be too long when this water would evaporate. There, the water layer has closed in a bit more. You can see that dark black band at the bottom. That is the interface of air and water. Now, what is happening if they have any minds like we do, a well established formed mind? They must be doing a lot of processes, thinking so many things, deciding upon certain strategies, but they have a few responses with them. The water is closing in from the sides. It's a tight squeeze. It is a very, very precarious situation that they have landed themselves in. I feel pity for them, but then sometimes you have to just wait and watch. Water is closing in. They have very limited space left for themselves. and you can see the struggle for space happening right there. It is becoming increasingly difficult to keep a constant focus. It, oh, it's going to be a very tough time for these animals now. Situation is getting worse. They have a limited, very limited. Oh goodness. One is trapped up there in that water film. Keeping the focus is very difficult. Imagine the kind of overcrowding they're having now. Soon it'll be all over. Apparently, it is. It's a sudden death, a sudden catastrophe of stress wiping out an entire population which was seconds back thriving well. Life hangs on such a delicate thread. So we are through with this. I'm sorry for those euglenids. Let me see if I can find something more on this slide that is worth watching. There's hardly anything more left. Everything has perished. That squeeze of water, the limiting factor. Oh, we find some. Soon they'll be under the same kind of stress. And I believe these ones will be the first to feel the pinch of it. Let's zoom in. Again, we have some euplotus, some euglenids, and some paramecia. They shall, and we have a lawn of bacteria at the right bottom corner. This water film is closing in. That euplotus is trapped. It's hardly in a position to move. Both of them are shrunk. They can't even move. And the struggle is on. And so are the euglenids. A few have escaped to a given nearby place, but then finding nothing there, they are stuck. They can't hardly even move. We'll quickly focus on them. They all have perished so quickly, just evaporated. They've burst open. He won't survive for long either. We'll keep a watchful eye on him. The recently exposed protoplasm, it's become good food for him. At least he can have a good meal before he dies. From the very slowed down movement of this animal, I presume that the environment has become extremely harsh for him, so much so that he is finding it difficult to negotiate. The water film is so precariously thin that he is unable to take a good swim. These are very swift swimmers, otherwise. It's a sadistic thing watching them fight for their life like this. Where has it gone? I just lost him. The water film is closing from nearby. Here, this water film is receding, and as it is doing so, it is constraining this environment. This apparently will be a safer zone, though for not long, because this little filament, it will hold that water layer for some time, won't let it crush on those animals. It will take a while. As you can see, the cohesive forces will retain this water film here for a long time. But you cannot expect for a long, long time, because it's closing in from the other sides, as we see. It will be a sudden implosion of this water, and probably if this little animal is not at the most appropriate of safe spaces, it will be trapped in a limited quantity of water wherein he'll have to live for eternity till the end of life. He is safe. He has been to a small area which is relatively safe, and he escapes for the time being. If he happens to be in this little interface, a little notch that is being created, that will be the end of world for him. And as we can see, the water film is receding. Where will he go? Obviously away from this threat. But if he takes a downside movement, that will be a bad decision. You can see this water filament. This filament has held water and gives a little space, though a constraining one. Our safe individual, somewhere up here, is safe for the time being. All of them are being constrained in a given little space, and they are under a tremendous pressure because the water is receding. All these individuals, they are under extreme stress. They have been searching for a safer place, but there is none, for the water is slowly receding, limiting their space, limiting their resources. It's not far, so close by, and is closing in and closing in and closing in. They'll keep running from one end to the other till they reach a space where they cannot have any more water left for themselves. These little euglenids, they are also under the same stress. They also have to rush. There you see the water film is closing slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly. It won't be much long when they have no space left with any water, and without water, they won't survive. they'll burst. There will be a small gradient of water availability, and those will be death traps. There you see the water slowly encloses a small fragment, and then once it is there, the two films, they just connect and break off, causing a small island of little bit of water like that, and still closing in. This is the other end, so we can expect them to be moving towards this side as we find a few, because these are the only areas remaining where they can survive and strategize for their next generation. If this one goes into this notch, this horn, it will be over for him, because soon this horn will be closed and cut off. Run away, run away, run away, run away, run away, run away. But where? They, this horn got dislodged from this main water body, and had our individual been in this horn, it would have been by now completely cut off and left with just this much amount of water, barely survived for another minute. He has been just lucky. Will he be? If he goes into this notch, and the water, which is slowly receding, traps him, it will be the end of his life. Like these euglenids. There it is crushed between those two water films. Oh, what a sad sight. A real sad sight. Hurry, 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 hurry. Hurry up, hurry up. Now it's dead. Oh, just slipped out in time. Just in time. This has become kind of a video game. This one, safe. I think he'll make it. But now it's becoming dangerous, because the exit is being blocked by a larger organism, larger individual. Safe. If the water film implodes now, he'll be trapped. If it implodes now, he might be trapped. Let's see if he makes it. I think he'll be safe. He has left the scene and is not between this tight squeeze of this receding water film and that little filament. Had he been there, he would have been snapped in that. Like these euglenids, they could hardly take a space for themselves. It's a little sadistic watching them die like this, but then this is how things happen. And these little organisms who are getting trapped between this filament and this water film, they live like this. They'll undergo immediate cystification, they'll form themselves into a cyst which will resist this dry atmosphere for a long time till the situation is favorable enough for them to relive, reborn. They, it is getting squeezed. There it is, squeezed. We see a few of them in a tight squeeze with little space to move. Soon this place will become tighter and tighter. The water will crush upon them and they'll have no space to move and they'll be crushed. Like the one here. Not much water is left on the slide now, and there is a big barrier nearby which will have the ability of deflecting this water film, further making it fragmentized. Let's watch this water film. What is it doing? This water film is going towards this little debris, and I think this debris will divert this water film in two different small fragments. One little fraction will be to the downside, the other would be towards the top side, further reducing and accelerating the rate of such. Oh man, what a tight squeeze this has been for him. Kind of a good massage. There it touches, almost. Will it try to squeeze through again? No, it doesn't. This is a death trap area. This little watery filament contains a little of euglenids, but not more. Now the threat is very real for this one. He is kind of trapped. There is just one exit possible, that little opening between the debris and the filament. If it doesn't move there, I think it will move because the water is imploding from the other sides. But if he doesn't, if he can't, then it will be over for him. But given the kind of situation, I think he'll be able to make it out because that will be the last space. There it escapes. And it escapes. For the time being, it escapes. Don't get down. Don't get down. It's a trap. Oh, another water film is closing from this side. Ready to trap these ones. He's kind of already trapped. No, he'll be safe. If he goes to that squeeze, he'll be gone. Just escapes. He is trapped. There's hardly anything left for him now. He can't move. And so the Euglenids also are getting trapped. And the frenzy begins. There it is, completely trapped between this water. It becomes one with the debris. It has become one with the debris. And so squeezed is its death that it can't even burst open to release its filaments. The contractile vacuole is still shrinking. The contractile vacuole is still shrinking, but then it's just too late for him. It's been a very squeezy death for him. I'm sorry, my friend. There you see. There you see. Okay, so now go to the other ones who are still surviving. There were a few, but they all must have been trapped by now. Because the water film has reduced so significantly, there is hardly any organism left except for this Euglena here, trying to give it a fight. The water film is all covered up. This is a lovely one. Somehow survived this onslaught. So it's over for the time being. We hardly have any organism freely available here. This ever shrinking environment has crushed each and every one of them, isolating them slowly, pushing them to a corner, and then slowly increasing the pressure. Oh, we have a few. It won't be long. It won't be long. This filament will split this water molecule, this this little water film. It surely will split it off. It is already died and is releasing its body contents outside. He couldn't take this stress. He could hardly take the stress. The cilia are still beating as it has died. You can see the ciliary fragments down at the water air interface. It has been a death of a different sort. The cilia are still beating while the anterior part is gone. Oh, they are being squeezed upon each other. That's so sad. That's really sad. Very sad. Very sad. Very sad. Oh, one has been completely broken. One has been completely dissociated. The other one is still struggling a bit. The top one is almost crushed. It is not only almost, it's totally crushed, while the bottom one is still beating the cilia fast. But it's all over for him. It's in the grips. This water has been very, very unmerciful, ruthless. There you see what remains out is only the bacteria that it had eaten. That last fragment of the pellicle, and that is crushed out too. Now it will be left off in just a pocket of water here. All this water pocket contains is the protoplasm and still living, grossly living elements of two ciliates. There we also see those cell organelles which are being further imploded upon by the incursion of this water. And what remains out here is just those bacteria and the food remains, those food vacuoles which they had been consuming. This greenishness is because of the refraction and at the same time also the representation of the chlorophyll content within those food elements that they had consumed. That's it for them. We'll quickly jump over to another section and see if we still have some water film and some organisms left. Water was receding. Here it is. Another one. Another fellow committed suicide. Another dead organism. They have somehow got the idea. Any others left? There is one. Is it imploding too? It has already done so. See, it is bursting from the seams. This fellow has burst open. That is the edge of the cover glass. Another one dead. The contractile vacuoles are being squeezed in. These euglenids are still living. They are least bothered about the environmental change and stress. They haven't yet felt the pinch of it. But what surprises me is why are the larger ones, those amphitrix, dying all of a sudden? Could there be a reason behind it? I presume that the ones that have died have released. See this one as well. Probably the already dead ones have released certain chemicals which have triggered this kind of a response in the remaining ones. This sure is the debris of a dead one. Debris of another, yet another. They all are submitting to the fate, this ill fate that has cursed upon them, and they are just dying because probably the concentration in this water of those chemicals which have been released from the dead ones has reached them, and finding no reason to live since their clan is dying, these ones have already undergone death. Such stress induced and chemical induced responses are not surprising in such animal kingdom. We know that an animal under stress releases glutathione as transferase, an enzyme which becomes a signal, a trigger for the nearby ones. I think too much of bloodshed we have seen today, too much of death we have observed. I might be losing my sleep tonight. I can't bear it anymore. I'm cutting out. Thank you for being with me on this expedition to the micro world. Hopefully, we'll come with something good and promising at the next session. Thank you and take care.